moment of your time, Commander. Remember that matter on Cloister I mentioned earlier? Well, since we're here and all, thought we might take it up now. Might be hard to believe, but 20 or so odd years ago, I made a mistake. Feels like high time I righted it. Now I'm out and about again. That's where the error occurred, I believe. Others judged it such. I shut it down. Believe I was wrong to do so. For many years now, a former colleague of mine's been in a remote spot called Reasons Pass, on account of my decision. I try not to think about regret or remorse. I shut down her work. I was wrong. Stating that out loud is the furthest extent of my self-castigation. Her research was unconventional, surely. She was as well. I think with both, we could right things, get the Order back on its intended path. Inquire away. I may even respond. Oh, I am a dedicated member of the Order. Beyond that, there's really little you or anyone need to hear about. Consider yourself lucky. You already know more about me than anyone else I've met in the last 20-odd years. I see you're not going to let this lie, are you? Fine. Suppose I'll elaborate. Slightly. I mentioned before I was part of the Department of Preemptive Causal Redirection. My role there, you may recall, was head intercessor. I was tasked to influence pivotal events, to keep the solving of the equation on track. Something occurred. I needed to step off the board a while. To put it mildly, after the incident in question, seeking refuge seemed prudent. Dorado appealed to me because it was off the board but not completely remote. There I could lie low for a time, but observe. So I'd believed. Our department was shuttered shortly after Ruth Pissar took office. To avoid undue attention, I remained in hiding. I'm not hearing a question. Another crack like that, and you might just find out. Our department employed a variety of methods to obviate hindrances and threats to the Order's efforts. We were considered wardens of the grand plan, helping correct it when needed. Some were proprietary. Often they involved forms of subtle persuasion, others more overt influence. Now and again, more direct means were required. All of us are part of the plan. We follow the path intended for us by the architect. We should, at least. Now and then, some push back against their path, but it never ends well. Corrections can take time, even delay in the solving of the equation. That's where we came in, to get things back on track in the timeliest of manners. Suppose you can ask. Presiding Bishop Orlo, yes, Ruth Pissar's predecessor. And better. Now there was a scientician, a true adherent to Order principles, ran an efficient operation to boot. For a while, I'd hoped all this recent brouhaha, the schism, invasion, the rifts, was part of some long-foreseen predictive plan on her part, something oblique only at the moment. The more time passes, the less I'm inclined to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I'm missing a few key variables, or maybe she's a bit mathematically challenged. Are you asking me to reveal details of high-level covert operations? For the former head of the Order? To you, an agent for another party? I doubt you're willing to offer me a thorough accounting of your past assignments. And I bet the Earth Directorate had you on all sorts of clandestine initiatives. I'm not saying never, but we only just met, dear. Trust takes time. Because all the good mathematical terms were already taken by my predecessors? Because nothing gets past me, someone once thought, perhaps. I'm sure I don't know, dear. Whoever came up with that particular sobriquet is surely long since dead and buried. Hopefully by my hand. I try to kill only when necessary. Granted, our missions mean that occurs fairly often. I assume that's in line with your thinking, too. Yes? Yes, this verbal resolution thing is, well, quite novel. I'm amazed how often it actually works. Keep expecting half these hullheads to argue themselves into an early grave. May all our endeavors yield expected results.
What could possibly be keeping the repair personnel so long? Oh, greetings. By any chance, did you happen to encounter the repair personnel I dispatched to Resistor Bank 2789B12? Our new JTY-1030 resistor banks are built with enough durability to suffer through a tremendous amount of misuse. But the brutish handling by the Protectorate is too much for it. The misuse is causing moisture uptake, which causes the resistors to give off more heat. In the snow, that means more moisture, which means even more heat. I'm sure you can observe that the problem is cyclical in nature. I don't suppose you'd be willing to aid me in fixing this? It's down in the valley just southwest of the archive. The heat has liquefied all the snow off the glass surface. It is an easy location to observe. Ursopods, Protectorate forces, rogue scrappers, blizzards, mantisaurs, maybe even Auntie's choice forces. Truly a smorgasbord of unfortunate options. In the short term, it's wreaking havoc with the weather and causing small, localized blizzards. Long term, the archive would suffer irreparable damage to multiple systems. Undoubtedly, this would reduce its maximum operations per millisecond. Obviously, this is unacceptable. I loathe that, for now, our actions may aid the Protectorate, but we must protect the archive. Oh, this is most appreciated. Unfortunately, the previous repair personnel took the only repair kit I had on hand. I'll mark the coordinates of the resistor bank on your map, but locating the repair personnel will be up to you. If you find him, you find the kit. I hope. Otherwise, the repair will be most difficult. I'll guide you.
Graft ain't playing over the cold. Whole damn arm's asleep.
self-imposed time frame. Unaccountably so. But going any faster grossly increases the threat of collapse. Burying us beneath the snow benefits no one. So long as we are operating within the statistical parameters given to us. I see absolutely no reason to delay. Pick up the pace. Have you at least determined the cause of the accident?
We're presently observing a ceasefire with Auntie's choice, but its duration may be subject to sudden reversal. Would hate for you to get caught in a crossfire. See that giant glowing structure in the distance there? That's the Archive's main entry point. However, I'd caution you to give it a wide berth. The Archive's under Protectorate control, and they mean to keep it. You'll not gain access without serious military support. For every problem, a solution. That's the Order way. So if we were capable of retaking the Archive, I assume we would have done it by now. Never hurts to ask, though. Ultimately, it's the leadership's call. I find it best to keep my eyes on my own paper. Gathering data on the enemy's movements and behavior. Blizzards raise the degree of difficulty, but that's our problem, not yours. Cloister has been a difficult front, and losing the Archive, first to the invaders and now to the Protectorate, has made it even more painful. Never mind the rifts. If you're looking for a way to help us out, I recommend heading to Laplace's garden. Follow this path and you can't miss it. Only the finest place on this ice ball. Words aren't sufficient to capture its many quality attributes. Best you observe it yourself. Avalanche collapsed part of the tunnel to the garden, so the safest path is along the cliffside here. Mind your step.
lovely day for differential geometry.
Hey, Commander. Something tells me the Order won't be keen on letting an enemy soldier walk through their gates. Reckon I ought to step away?
Heard that rift near the archive has destabilized. Must be a sign. The Protectorate's latest action clearly runs counter to the plan. Halt! The Oracle Laureate sent ahead to expect someone matching your description. However, he said nothing about admitting questionable allies. Members of Auntie's Choice are not permitted inside Laplace's garden. Your companion will have to wait outside.
Huh. If only one of us could have foreseen this situation. But I'll stay back, Commander. Ain't no reason to cause a scene.
You should heed the wisdom of your friend. The Oracle Laureate is our foremost seer, excluding the presiding bishop herself. He oversees the Department of Predictive Analysis, and in so doing keeps the Order on course. Is this some kind of test? No participants or observants are permitted to discuss Laplace's garden outside its boundaries. You'll discover all you need once inside, after ridding yourself of your problematic auxiliary, of course.
Go ahead. Tell me what ails ya.
Was there ambiguity in my previous warning? This is your last warning. If you attempt to gain entry with potential troublemakers in tow, we will have no choice but to fire upon them. And you.
Got a lot on my mind, but I can make time. If you say so. Try not to get into too much trouble without me.
Agent, I have a message for you. On behalf of the Order of the Ascendant and her impermeable wisdom, the presiding bishop Ruth Bassar, welcome to Laplace's garden. The presiding bishop is presently indisposed, but I've been instructed to direct you to the Artificer Laureate for whatever pressing matter has brought you to the garden. She's working in Belvedere Hall's secondary courtyard. Enter the large building at the top of the mesa ahead and follow the first hall on your right. Oh, yes. The vicar did ask me to direct you to him. How positively forgetful of me. He should be waiting for you in Belvedere Hall's main courtyard at the top of the stairs. The Artificer Laureate is head of the Department of Applied Scientism, overseeing the exemplars, or craftsmen, of our order. Weapons and technology all fall under her purview. Oh no, not at all. The presiding bishop routinely spends time in a sensory deprivation chamber to hone her mental faculties. Of course, she does seem to be logging more hours in the chamber of late, but I'm certain that's all part of the plan. The rest of the Laureate Council is capable of managing affairs while the presiding bishop is occupied. Really, it's no reason for concern. Nothing in the garden is. look around you. I don't see a battlefield. Do you? I'm quite sure I don't know what refugees you're referring to. I fear our conversation has drifted from its central thesis. Continuing along this current trajectory seems unwise. Can I help answer any other queries for you? Belvedere Hall used to serve primarily as the garden's hub for all manner of research, instruction, and study. A beacon on the Hill of Progress. Since the Order's forced dispossession of Spireton and the Archive, many spaces within the hall have been repurposed to serve as a temporary headquarters. Which is to say, please excuse our mess, we're still remodeling. May all your problems precede solutions.
Yeah. Is it just me? Or does something seem... Oh, never mind.
I'm cutting you off there, Charles. That's your third conviction today. People will start to worry.
Academical greetings, Ascendants. Victor.
Welcome to the CAF integration point. Will it be caffeine or convictions today? Convictions are statements which promote personal and professional confidence and well-being, leading to 22.9% more scientific breakthroughs in a given quarter. Interested? Strength? You might be the first patron to ever sidle up to my counter and utter those words in that particular order. Here you are. And don't worry yourself over payment. First one's complimentary. I haven't spied you around before. New project appointment? Must be an adjustment, all things considered. Earth Directorate? In Arcadia? That's rather anomalous. And I'd go as far as to say wholly unexpected. By all means, continue. I'm fascinated to learn the particulars of this little mission of yours. How noble and noteworthy. I was under the impression the Order, we had this well in hand, but I'm always happy to have my assumptions corrected. You know, I'm actually nearing the end of my shift. If you're amenable to continuing our chat somewhere more private, I think we could both benefit. Right this way.
Function F to the n equally or starting then. Function F n minus
Yes, I'd like to get a side of beef and French fries, yeah, and a beer, please.
You must be curious why I asked for such a discreet rendezvous. Allow me to whet your appetite for intrigue a little further, shall I? I have adequate reason to believe the Order is conducting a mass experiment on the population of Laplace's garden. Recall what you have observed thus far. Isn't it strange how calm everyone is? The Order is in the middle of a war. A war, one might say, they are losing. The Order is not cultivating its perfect, plan-abiding society through careful ideological pruning, as the laureates would have you believe. It's simple pharmacology. Put bluntly, they're regulating the emotions of everyone in Laplace's garden through drugs in the water supply. I'm limiting my water intake and using other pharmaceuticals to combat the effects. It's not a perfect system, but it works adequately enough. Why would the Order want to create a society of undistractable little academics whose only desire is to advance the plan? I wonder. Moderate your volume, please. No one here is in any immediate peril. Probably. The Order claims the subjects here supposedly consented to participate, but it was begun prior to the schism with the Protectorate, so who's to say? Regardless, if the Order has made some kind of pharmaceutical breakthrough, imagine how useful it might be to certain parties to know about it in advance. I represent a group of information traders who would pay well to get their hands on a sample of this drug. Interested? So you've heard of us? Good. That makes this easier. My primary task has been to watch the Order. But I'm confident my superiors would agree. Physical proof is of far greater value than mere rumor. Nothing nefarious, if that's the needle in your conscience. We only mean to study the drug and consider all of its many applications. I know that must read as terribly vague to you, but I'm not at liberty to provide more detail than that. All you need to do is enter water reconditioning and collect a sample of the drug. I believe they call it Perspective. This passcode will give you access to the main terminal. Watch the guards patrol before making your way into the facility. If worst comes to worst, I wager Laureate Beckett also has a keycard on him, but that might be tricky to lift. Lately, he's been sitting near the fountains, performing his silly little breathing exercises. If he's not there, then he's likely in conference with the presiding bishop. Whatever you do, be discreet. I can't have any laureates asking questions about me. Understood? It's too diluted by the time it enters circulation. I need the unfiltered drug, which is only accessible to those working in water reconditioning. Outside of work, I have, let's call it an alternative inventory. You'll have to pay, of course, but I'm sure I have something that'll make your job a little easier. And I'd like to offload some of this merchandise. Sounds like a win-win.
Please, try to capture your exact satisfaction to the nearest 10th integer.
100? Certainly. That's the right answer, isn't it? I can show my hand. Yeah.
What a lamentable state of affairs. I remember the days when Laplace's garden lived up to its estimable purpose. Now look at it. The fountain in disrepair, pedagogy in the park, even the lights above our heads have winked out like stars taken down from the sky. Nevertheless, one must persist. The plan is good. The shadow of ignorance cannot withstand its light. Oh, I couldn't say. This isn't my college, as it were. I'm a vicar. I tend to people's philosophical needs and leave the management of the garden to others. I knew you had a knowledgeable look about you. That would be wonderful. Thank you, dear. There's a panel just here. I will supervise from a respectable distance, but know that I am with you in theory, like the architect's own guiding hand.
A second makeup exam will not be off, so I hope you studied this time, Briar. You may begin now.
Right. No pressure.
For Pete's sake, is it the pump or the sealant?
Industrial science is mostly theory, they said. You won't have to put your knowledge into practice for years, they said. Now the fountain's broken and I can't. Useless. I'm useless. We had an avalanche recently, not far from the dome. One of these fountains stopped working around the same time. Stands to reason something must have been jostled loose. I recently placed into the industrial sciences, so I've been entrusted to fix the issue. But I've never had to put my knowledge into application before. It's not going well. You must be an agent of the architect. The panel here controls the intake and outtake for the fountains. I'd start there. Oh, praise the architect. I hear water running. Come see, it's beautiful. I'd provide compensation, but isn't the garden's beautification a reward in and of itself?
We have a good collaboration going here.
Smart researchers patronize the scientician's surplus. Quality goods at algorithmic determined prices.
Welcome to the Scientician Surplus. I am the scientician in question. Any inquiries about the stock may be directed to me. Please peruse with discernment.
Strange to see all this vacant space after the overcrowding at Matriarch's Mercy. Plenty of room for refugees here, if only the Order administrants got their act together.
What is your hypothesis about the flowers there?
Exposing them to melodic sound waves on a consistent basis did affect some feelings.
Unauthorized visitors are not authorized. Do I need to diagram that for you?
Every day treating the same strains and abrasions. Tenure for a multifactorial disorder. The operating theater is not conducting viewing dissections at this time. That is not an invitation to return to your study and perform exploratory surgery on yourself or a willing volunteer, just to be clear. Not as concerning as some of the scenes I have been called to in the middle of the night. I assure you, the warning is justified. But I trust you are here for a reason other than to discuss scalpel-happy novices. Obviously. Do you think we drink unfiltered snow melt? I'm quite sure I have no knowledge of what you're talking about. Is there anything else I can assist you with? That is best answered through observation. Here, have a look.
Residents of Laplace's garden are not permitted beyond this point.
Hey! Only security personnel are permitted in this booth. Leave. Please.
Agent, over here. Ah, there you are. I was informed by Gertie you've agreed to help us reconvene negotiations. With your aid, Auntie's Choice and the Order will soon be rivals no longer. Just think of all we can accomplish if our two sides reject fractiousness and combine our efforts. Remember, seek out ways to help both sides. engender trust. Gertie and I will let you know when it's time to move forward. In the meantime, I might recommend you work on honing your oratory skills. Our presiding bishop and Auntie Cleo can be challenging to debate with.
Strive to become a humanistics researcher. There are several open questions in the area of prime number study.
The Chamber of Conflict Evaluation and Strategic Planning is currently off limits to non-essential order personnel.
Yeah.
Prudence dictates we cherish all we have and defend it.
Hello, stranger. Mercenary. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Any undue rage you note in my tone is not at all related to the recent coup in my beloved protectorate. I do so dearly love residing in a nest of traitors, waiting for them to capitulate, unable to aid my fellows at home. It is truly a wonderful feeling. The Sovereign is the true ruler of the Protectorate. The Consul is a corpse-to-be. I was tasked to remain here and convince the Order to return to the fold. But the Consul's betrayal is spit in the face of all those still loyal. All this is beyond my purview, I remind myself. I must remain focused on the Order. Hate is an inaccurate phrase. I find them arrogant and exasperating. Without the Protectorate, this little organization would have no holdings to squat in. I am here because the Sovereign has tasked me with bringing these wayward, pretentious toddlers back into the Protectorate fold. Unfortunately, my time here has taught me that only mass death has the power to change the local hearts and minds. Perhaps enough will be alive to save afterwards. I am not just anyone. The duty of a liaison is of the utmost importance, requiring due diligence and delicacy. Though I suppose it a mite strange that this task fell to me, as I'd urge the vehement tanning of any wayward body bent on disrespecting the Protectorate, which would now include the Protectorate at large. Madness, slandering my beloved Sovereign, following that feckless Consul. makes my blood boil. I fear it is not so simple. Though many within the Protectorate still trusted their leaders, a growing minority had begun to question their sovereign. They argued the losses we've suffered would not have happened if he could truly lead, that his father would not have allowed this to happen. Pah! Anyone who didn't side with the sovereign will pay, sooner or later. You may count on it. I've proudly served the Protectorate my whole life. Now look at it. Traitors from without, traitors from within. It's enough to make an old man despair. That consul, I never trusted that miserable bastard. His betrayal is so galling, I'd almost care to join the armed forces to bring him to justice myself. But my hands quaver with age, and the Sovereign has tasked me with my own duty. I must see it to completion before all else. Listen, you. The Protectorate does not do delegation. The Protectorate has a will that must be upheld. My presence here is a display of more faith than these fools deserve. Niceties are irrelevant, and likely detrimental to the task at hand. I am here to make the Order see the error of their ways. All other particulates are frivolous.
A visitor? It's for the best that you're talking to me now instead of mid-work. I do seem to have a slight propensity for stabbing randomly with my tools when interrupted, but I suppose that's enough time spinning in the statements column. Speak away. What are you... Beckett. Another prediction that he hasn't seen fit to notify me about. A more cynical exemplar might posit his doing this to be intentional. If you're here, I imagine you aim to petition the presiding bishop for her support, which is hardly a surprise. She is the most important individual in Arcadia. I'm glad we're in accord. The presiding bishop's leadership allows the Order to act in Arcadia's best interest. Without her, we would be nothing. The corporate invaders will suck Arcadia of its resources and cast it to the wind. And the Protectorate are no better than machines. Moreover, once we solve the universal equation, it will benefit all of humanity. You, me, everyone. No more suffering, no more doubt. Well, I hope you'll see in time. There is a task of pivotal importance to the Order, but I cannot entrust it with just any come-by-chance outsider. As head of the Order's exemplars, it's my responsibility to assess whose aims upon Ruth may be malicious. Prove yourself to me first, then we may discuss the rest. To the point. Very well. A myriad of cultists have taken over the settlement of Newton, which is a nearby site of historical but not strategic significance. I want them gone. Once there was a bridge stretching from the settlement to the archive, but it was destroyed by a rift. Best keep your distance should you travel there. I'll withhold my appreciation until this task is complete. May you act within the equation's confines.
We should collect Azza from the ship first. Unless you don't want the benefits of her inside knowledge of the cult.
Commander.
If you need to discharge any sputum, I ask you kindly aim such accretions away from my general direction. Thank you. No, not asleep. Merely waiting. I have no idea. Sometime last year, I predetermined an occasion of momentous import would happen today, right here, at these very coordinates. None taken. But now I've forgotten to introduce myself properly, haven't I? Leslie Beckett, Oracle Laureate, Seer Supreme, leader of the Department of Predictive Analysis, and not terribly good at informal introductions, evidently. Forgive me if I don't shake hands. I prefer to keep my skin microbiome free of exogenetic cells. You understand? But now, if I'm not mistaken, you must be the agent we've been expecting. I knew loitering at this location would yield results. I, don't suppose you've stumbled upon any of our excogitation chapels around Cloister by chance? Excogitation chapels are order residencies where one can meditate in solitude on specific theorems relating to the plan. They're scattered all around Cloister. Prior to the war, such focused study led to all manner of breakthroughs, with audio logs routinely kept by the scientician in residence. In these unprecedented times, such logs could harbor hidden wisdom. However, with the war on, I've sadly been unable to get my hands on the last of these recordings. All confidential, I'm afraid. Many are still under peer review, but I can assure you, their value is commensurate with, why, the discovery of gravity, or has the potential to be. Oh no, I couldn't possibly ask you to endanger yourself by seeking out these logs. Cloister is rather treacherous, and some of the chapels are difficult to reach by design. However, if you happened upon these chapels and recovered these logs, I would most certainly be interested in their contents. By my reckoning, the amount of logs to be collected is 4. You have that? 4. No more, no less. Each chapel should have at least one somewhere inside. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. How do you know about that? I mean, that is quite the allegation. I deny it effusively. First, answer me this. What is your interest in this matter? As much as I relish the idea of entrusting a stranger with sensitive and potentially incendiary information, I shall have to decline further comment. Perhaps if you were to help me out with recovering those logs I asked for, I could be more amenable to sharing knowledge. But let's put a pin in that for now, shall we? If there's nothing else, I would like to return to my deep breathing exercises.
hope you have good news for me. I knew I had the right person for the job. You've saved me quite the headache. Your reward, as promised. Aw, wondering if you'll ever see me again? Precious. I'll remain in the garden a little while longer, but it would be best if we limited contact with one another. No offense. But who knows? The plan mystifies even the greatest minds. Perhaps our paths will intersect again someday.
receive your personalized order prediction yet. I'll admit to a bit of trepidation in regards to opening mine. This is the first one I've received since deployment. Don't consume tea this morning.
Fizzo's Purple Berry Punch. You want a punch? We've got your punch right here. Auntie's Choice Rehydrated Water for the spacer on the go. Auntie's Choice Dehydrated Water. Just add air. Now available in carbonated.
Use caution as you progress. There's been reports of arthropods in the area.
For mayhem!
Applying appropriate force. That was a clue.
Soldier, please assess your pain on a variable scale. 1 to 100. 1 being entirely pain-free, and 100 being the worst pain you can imagine.
There is far too much variability in that scale. The amount of pain I can imagine is hardly an objective measure of the maximum amount of pain I could actually feel.
Your observation is correct, which is a diagnostic in its own right. Now, if you were to indicate, using a scale of 0.4 to 12.7, how close you are to going into shock?
Sadly, that scale is entirely beyond my current comprehension, thus leading me to believe I'm already in shock, and the question itself was the actual test.
Excellent. Our diagnostic is complete, and you should feel free to resume bemoaning your agony.
Captain, I fear I have a confession to make. I have found being present on Cloister
Just gone.
underwhelming.
Nothing should work that way. How often the data is verified and synced? Excuse me, I don't think you have the author. It's fine, but don't get too close. You won't survive direct contact with the Rift. Salutations. We've been doing our utmost to find ways to manipulate this Rift or extract data from it. Unfortunately, our efforts have been ineffective thus far. I suppose it's too much to hope for, but would you, perchance, happen to have any practical experience with or mathematical understanding of the Rift phenomena? Wait. Actually, this isn't some jest. You'll have to forgive me for not taking your assertion at face value. Perhaps a demonstration. For science, of course.
All the items we put into the Rift, they've been reconstituted.
but in a state far different from their original configuration. Fascinating. Oh, damn it. It's reverted to its previous state. Is it a failing of the device or an inevitable effect of the passage of time? Perhaps the architect has imposed certain limits on the rifts. Architect above? That was incredible! That small, portable device changed the state of the rift anomaly in an instant. From observing how the device operates and how the rift reacted to it, it seems to be using some kind of energy burst generated by a magnetic field to re-deregulate the structure of the field around the rift. Truly an astounding piece of technology. That's quite ingenious. The rifts are unlike any other phenomena heretofore observed. We've still so much to learn. Would you consider allowing me the opportunity to open the casing and examine the inner workings? No, forget I asked. What a preposterous question. Thank you for the demonstration. It was most enlightening. You have given my team and I a good deal to think about, and to try and fit into our current theoretical framework. It seems rifts do not fit cleanly into our current understanding of the universal equation. Observe. On rare occasion, the plan provides two unknown variables simultaneously. Years of practical data gathering have taught me to simply stand aside and observe quietly. And then second as a variable, heavily on. Very observant, Assistant Ogburn.
I don't know you, but you, I do. It's good to see you, Asa. It's me, Severin. You know, I've never been to Cloister before. It's cold.
What is wrong with you? Boy, damn it! Did they mentally refresh you?
No, let's just say I'm well lubricated. You tried the new Prestige gin? It helps when you have to do something you really don't want to do.
I didn't say that. I simply said I thought he'd see through the fake kill order.
Oh, I did. That's why I'm here. I made the mistake of questioning it too loudly to too many of the Dawn. The Exalted Leader summoned me. She knew about the message I'd sent to you.
Dagmar met you? Face to face? You're lying. She meets with no one but me. Calm down? You don't get it, do you? I was the only one who knew who she was. She needed to preserve her anonymity at all costs. If she met with him...
That's right, Asa. The kill order was real. It came from Dagmar. She said my message had ruined everything, so to save myself, to save the Dawn, I had to do this. She promised I'd take your place. And I'm a coward. I didn't want to die. There are a bunch of sentinels in hiding. When I give the word, they're to execute both of you. I'm sorry, Asa.
Absolutely not. We don't need his help. We should just kill him and get on with the Sentinel killing. If we die, at least I'll be taking a great many of them with us. Did you not hear me? I said he dies.
No. Sentinels! Target confirmed!
Scoping out a
Sentinels! The target is here!
Focus on their weaknesses. Overprotection in progress.
The Exalted Leader sent Severin as bait, not to mention betraying the Dawn to save her own life. What a coward. The unspeakable things I will do when I find her. Well, once I find her. The Exalted... No, I won't refer to her as such any longer. Dagmar continually moved around for safety. She always initiated contact with me. We do know that she was in league with the Sentinels, though. There's nothing of it but to get ourselves inside their headquarters on Praetor. We'll track her by accessing their comm system. We don't need to worry about their systems. My parents were vigilant. I stole their access codes when I was younger, but never had the nerve or call to use them. Once we do, they'll become unusable, as they'll set off all sorts of alarms. Dagmar didn't betray us to the Sentinels. She is a Sentinel, with a fucking office here in Central Control. It's enough to make one take leave of their sanity.
Good thing you didn't start with much, then.
I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear that. Fortunately, there's an easy solution to Dagmar's betrayal. One which involves removing her head from her body. Or maybe we should start with the disemboweling? So many choices.
I suppose congratulations are in order for having dispatched so many sentinels. Can't rightly say I'm surprised, what with your knack for wanton violence. But still, impressive. And let's not forget that I was the one who gave Azahelia Leitinger a purpose and fulfillment. Look at how much fun you've had.
The commander's right, though I do love hearing you grovel. Almost as much as I'm going to enjoy your screams.
Let's not be hasty. I mean, can it even be a betrayal if it was always lies? But I must say, when I started the Dawn at the Consul's behest, I knew you were the perfect candidate.
What are you talking about? There were cultists before me!
No, there were not. The fiction of a cult was born out of the need to convince the Sovereign to return to the true spirit of the Protectorate. The Consul feared he was too weak.
So what we found in the Rift Lab was true. Everything Dagmar told me was lies. Our cause isn't righteous.
As much as I'd prefer to not anger you, I must say your willful ignorance is still a thing to behold. You were always so willing to accept even the most specious of arguments. I can only hope your luck has run its course, and the remaining sentinels are able to put you down. Your death would put me back in the Consul's good graces. Goodbye, Aza.
No, that's too quick. What about... No, not painful enough. Yes, that's it! I just need to find a piece of heat-conducting metal and something to peel the skin effectively. I've no idea what you're speaking of. The Glorious Dawn is the future of Arcadia. Dagmar must die violently because she betrayed us!
How did you let Aza get this far? Stop her! She means to assassinate me!
Never let herself be cornered. She's sure to have an escape route. We should find it.
You're still alive! Now, let's not be too hasty here. You seem a rational person. There must be something we can do to resolve this peacefully. Please don't let Azza get her hands on me.
Why are you talking to them, Dagmar? I'm the one you must answer to. Well, I'm waiting to hear your ineffectual arguments as to why you should be spared. And then I'll kill you. You can start by telling me why. Why'd you do it, and why me?
Why? I'm a loyal subject to the True Protectorate. What other reason is there? When the Consul tasked me to help save the colony, I did not even think to ask why. And you were an obvious choice. So lost, so dead inside. But then you went berserk. I never could have imagined how you'd take to the killing and mayhem. You brought me great praise from the Consul. Until you started asking questions and killing the wrong people. The Consul feared that the Sovereign wasn't up to the task he inherited. He actually believed the subjects no longer needed such a firm guiding hand. So the Consul set to creating a challenge for the Sovereign to rise to make manifest the hidden dangers he refused to see. It began with labeling political subversives members of a fictitious cult. When that didn't work, the Consul enlisted me to make the glorious dawn a reality.
Enough of this blathering on. It's well past time for Dagmar and her life to part ways. As I told you before, there's only death for those who would betray the cult.
All on the wrist.
She's dead. As am I. Our enthusiasm got the better of us. She should have suffered more. It was too quick a death for one who betrayed not only me, but the whole of the Dawn. Now that Dagmar is dead, I'll be leading the Dawn into the glorious future. True. There may be those that do not accept my leadership, but they will die. The Dawn is too important to disband. What little risk any of them may pose doesn't concern me. I can send out a general message from here, informing the cells that the previous Exalted Leader has betrayed us and has been dealt with, and that I am now in charge. I suspect some will simply jump into the closest rift. And to be perfectly candid, I'm hoping there are more than a few that refuse to acknowledge their new leader. Enough to keep my knife skills up at least. It's done. Let's leave this place. It sickens me.